COVID-19 updates in Kentucky and around the nation. And find out how a mother was able to save her toddler's life.
But what does tomorrow's forecast look like? I'll have those details now at 5:30.
Dedicated to Southern and Eastern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. Coronavirus infections continue to spike across the South and West, contributing to the surge in the national death rate. CBS's Danya Backus has the latest from Los Angeles.
Texas has brought in coolers and refrigerated trailers to store bodies as their morgues fill up.
This is a morbid topic. These individuals are our family members and friends.
Following a third straight day of topping 10,000 COVID infections, Texas announced 5 million public school students may start classes online this fall. Florida reported more than 11,400 new cases Friday.
I think the fact that we're testing so much has led to case numbers that have been put out there, and I think kind of unfairly, maligning the state.
More than half the states have mask mandates. Georgia is not among them, although several cities have their own ordinances. The governor is suing Atlanta's mayor, saying her mask requirement violates his state order.
Jury people need to wear a mask. I don't think it takes a mandate for people to do the right thing.
But Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms, who recently tested positive for coronavirus, says her order stands and she'll see the governor in court.
When you are reckless, as the governor has been, when you disregard science, as the governor has done, then certainly people are suffering and people are dying in our state.
Indoor dining is prohibited in California as COVID cases continue to surge. Here in Burbank, parts of the city's busiest downtown streets are closed so restaurants can expand their outdoor dining.
It allows for these restaurants to, get more business. I think it's awesome.
Nail and hair salons are closed in California. Owners are asking the governor to allow them to do their business outdoors. Danya Backus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Back here in Kentucky, the state Supreme Court blocked lower courts from suspending Governor Beshear's emergency orders today related to the coronavirus pandemic, pending its own review. The governor said he was relieved. We'll have much more on that decision coming up at 6. Meanwhile, the governor also provided updated COVID-19 numbers for Kentucky this afternoon. He announced 531 new cases, one of the worst days we've seen. The total number of cases now is 21,605. There are 8 new deaths today. The death toll sits at 653. 6,772 Kentuckians have recovered from the virus, and more than 522,000 tests have been administered. For more on COVID-19 across eastern Kentucky, and there were several new cases today reported in some of those hot spots that we've been reporting on the last few days, including Harlan and Bell counties. Several new cases there today, as well as Perry County. For the latest, you can go to WYMT.com. One area seeing an increase of cases in central Kentucky is Madison County. That county is reporting its highest numbers since the pandemic. Chelsea Jones talked with members of the health department there and the judge executive. She tells us about the message they are sending to the community.
You're following those CDC guidelines. With COVID-19 on the rise in Madison County, health officials say it's crucial that everyone do their part.
Just one of these measures alone won't make a big difference, but if we do all of these measures together, it can slow the spread.
Yesterday, the county saw its highest number of new cases with 21 reported. The day before that was 16 new cases. 3 people are in the hospital. At least 1 person has died. Lately, officials have been stressing the importance of wearing a mask. And officials say there is one way to wear a mask correctly. That's making sure it covers your mouth and nose.
There's really nothing controversial about the facts that they do make a difference.
But political tensions are growing over if people should be required to wear one.
Maybe you don't like it. The masks are sometimes hot.
Regardless of how you feel, Judge Executive Reagan Taylor says wearing a mask is the right thing to do.
And I think right now that we have to trust our medical professionals, our healthcare system, our health departments. We have to trust what they're telling us to do to try to beat this.
Officials say people should also be socially distancing and washing their hands frequently. In Madison County, Chelsea Jones, WKYT.
There are now 13 locations in Madison County to get tested for COVID-19. You can find those by visiting the health department's website.
Well, conditions are starting to dry out just a little bit, but we are still seeing some showers throughout our area. If you look behind me at one of our cameras into Wise County at the University of Virginia, you can see as those showers hit, you can just see those sidewalks go from dry to instantly wet in those afternoon hours. But those showers are kind of starting to dwindle even out of there, but we are still seeing them, especially towards our Virginia border. But they did kind of come in the scattered form, but they came out of the west and just crossed over our entire region this afternoon, really causing some slick roads. So just be careful if you are headed out early this evening. But you can see really just now a few showers still into Wise, but even those looking to kind of head out now. So we're actually looking much drier now. Still going to see a few pop-up showers as we head throughout the evening hours, so we can't completely get rid of those rain chances, but we are going to be seeing a little bit more of a drier conditions. And we do have a flash flood warning that is out. Now this is for Dickinson and Buchanan County. They saw quite a bit of rain come down just a little bit ago. So if you are in Dickinson and Buchanan County, Virginia, you are under this flash flood warning. This is going to go until 7:30 tonight. So if you live in that flood prone zone, take those necessary precautions that you normally take, because we are going to continue to see a few pop-up showers, but after that we're going to continue to see these chances just continually to decrease and get a lot more dry, especially as we head overnight tonight. Steve?
All right, Brooke, thank you. Concerns are growing about the spread of COVID-19 among U.S. service members on the Japanese island of Okinawa. At least 141 troops at Marine Corps bases are now infected with the coronavirus. The island's governor has confirmed the first known case of the virus being transmitted by a service member to a local resident. CBS's Rami Inocencio reports from Okinawa.
The Ospreys still deploy from Okinawa, the U.S. military's keystone in the Pacific, even as the Marine Corps wages a public health battle against coronavirus. Lieutenant Commander Margaret Moore is a senior medical officer. How bad is it?
My assessment is that it's not as bad as it possibly could be, because healthy people are getting better from this disease.
Colonel Neil Owens met us at the Joint COVID Response Cell, the nerve center of the military's coronavirus response.
There is no off-base liberty authorized.
To stop the spread, up to 40,000 Marines and their families have been placed on restricted movement orders.
If you live out in town, you go home and you come to work, and that's really the only interaction you have off the base.
A different situation from the 4th of July. This video posted to social media allegedly shows U.S. personnel partying. No masks, no social distancing. While restrictions were looser at the time, upset locals, including the governor, are now blaming the Marine Corps for Okinawa's COVID surge. Is there truth to that?
So as of right now, we have not found any connection between the July 4th celebrations and any positive case that we've identified.
The presence of U.S. troops in Okinawa remains a point of frustration for local residents. In 2016, protests flared after an ex-Marine was accused of raping and murdering a 20-year-old Japanese woman. He was later convicted and sentenced to life in prison.
We are so angry.
80-year-old peace activist Suzuo Takazato was born and raised here. She says that over the years, allegations against U.S. servicemen have also included drunk driving and sexual assault. What are you demanding of the U.S. military?
To evacuate every U.S. military from Okinawa, because we have been suffering 75 years already.
And the U.S. Marine Corps told CBS News two other things. One, that all of those service members who tested positive for coronavirus are only experiencing weak symptoms, and that the Corps remains operationally ready to combat any threat here in Asia Pacific. Rami Inocencio, CBS News, Okinawa, Japan.
The Confederate flag will no longer fly over U.S. military bases. Secretary of Defense Mark Esper issued a new Defense Department policy today. It points out the importance of, quote, rejecting divisive symbols. The policy does not specifically mention the Confederate battle flag, but there is a list of flags allowed to fly, and the Confederate flag is not on it. The new policy comes as the debate continues over removing Confederate symbols nationwide. Ruth Bader Ginsburg revealed today she is undergoing chemotherapy to treat a recurrence of cancer. The 87-year-old Supreme Court justice says the treatment she's been on since May is yielding, quote, positive results. Her statement indicates the pancreatic cancer she was treated for in 2009 has returned, this time in her liver. She has had several fights with cancer during the past 21 years. The prospect that President Trump could name a third justice to the U.S. Supreme Court would be a major election issue. Ginsburg says she remains, quote, fully able to continue in her post. After a months-long search, a toddler battling end-stage kidney disease gets the lifeline he needs. And as it turns out, the match came from his mother. CBS's Danya Backus has his story.
The first year of 3-year-old Maverick Moreau's life was filled with hospital and doctor's visits.
We were in the ER all the time.
Maverick was diagnosed with stage 5 chronic kidney disease. Both of his kidneys were too small, covered in cysts, and not functioning properly.
I feel like I failed him in some way in trying to, give him everything that he needed for a successful life.
He ended up on dialysis before his first birthday. His parents, Alexandra and Gary, were told it was a temporary but necessary solution and that a kidney transplant was inevitable.
Every single night he did 6 hours of dialysis.
For almost a year, while Maverick had his dialysis, his parents patiently waited for him to gain weight and grow in order to be eligible for a transplant. Then the search for a donor began. Both Maverick's parents were tested. They found out first that Gary was not a good match. Then came the good news. Alexandra had the opportunity to give her son the gift of life again.
I found out I was a match in November. He was listed in December.
Children, even small children like Maverick, can receive a kidney from an adult.
Dr. Rachel Est is the medical director of the kidney transplant program at Children's Hospital Los Angeles.
The main issue actually has to do with blood vessels and making sure that the blood vessels in their body is big enough to accommodate the blood vessels from the kidney of an adult.
It's been 7 months since Maverick's transplant, and he's thriving.
He's more verbal, he's more active.
The family is grateful for every moment they are now able to enjoy together. Danya Backus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
About 100,000 people are currently on the kidney transplant waiting list. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, a lawmaker with the Aloha State connections is on the short list to become Joe Biden's running mate. What experts say about Senator Tammy Duckworth's qualifications.
And temperatures only increase as we head into our weekend. I will have your full forecast coming up.